We just traded away our absolute best defensive playmaker to Buffalo, and now the veteran anchor of our secondary is packing his bags for New England. Free agency is absolutely tearing our beloved roster apart, but the front office just made a massive $40 million move to try and save the defense. Buckle up, because today we are breaking down every single heartbreaking departure, every blockbuster signing, and the absolute chaos of this offseason. Before we dive into all this madness, make sure you smash that like button, share this video with your football family, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. Day 3 of the NFL free agency frenzy is officially upon us, and my goodness, my head is spinning from all the news dropping today. Let's just rip the band-aid off right now and talk about the secondary. We finally have a definitive answer on our veteran safety, and it is not the news a lot of us were holding out hope for. Kevin Byard is officially leaving us, guys. He is packing up and heading out to the East Coast, signing a one-year deal with the New England Patriots worth $9 million. I'm not going to lie to you, there is a very real sense of bittersweetness hanging over this entire situation. We all know the unbelievable impact he had on this roster. He came in, set the tone, and instantly became one of the strongest, most respected leaders in that locker room. Think back to all those incredibly fun memories we made during the 2025 season. He was right there in the middle of it all, commanding the defense and giving us everything he had. But now, he is heading to the Patriots to reunite with his former head coach, Mike Vrabel, who obviously coached him back during their days in Tennessee. Honestly, did any of us really believe a guy with his resume was going to take a massive hometown discount just to stick around? We all kind of felt the writing on the wall the second the front office made their move and signed Coby Bryant. I know a lot of us were clinging to this false sense of hope, whispering to ourselves that maybe, just maybe, the market would dry up and he would come back to us on a cheap deal. But let's be real. 1 year for $9 million is almost certainly way less than he originally expected to play for this offseason. Still, there was simply no way our front office was going to match that number after they just committed $13 million a year to lock down Coby Bryant. Byard's representatives definitely overplayed their hand this time. Leading up to free agency, all the whispers behind the scenes were saying the exact same thing. He wanted one last massive payday. He wanted to cash in. But then day 1 of free agency comes and goes. The top safeties start flying off the board, and suddenly the money starts drying up. Our front office executes a brilliant pivot and goes all in on Coby Bryant. By the time day 2 and day 3 roll around, you just have to take the best offer on the table. And honestly, the Patriots are walking away with an absolute steal here. They are getting one of the premier playmaking safeties of his entire generation for a measly $9 million. Even though it hurts to see him go, if we had to lose him, I am incredibly relieved he is going to the AFC. At least we don't have to play him twice a year in the division. He gets to join a potential contender, a team that just made a run as the Super Bowl runner-ups last year. I wish him nothing but the absolute best. But let's pivot and talk about the new guy, because I am fired up about this. If you put a gun to my head and asked me if I would rather have a 33-year-old Kevin Byard on a 1-year, $9 million deal, or a 26-year-old Coby Bryant on a 3-year, $40 million contract, I am taking Bryant every single time. Yes, Byard might have been just a tiny tick better overall last season. But you cannot fight Father Time. Byard is getting older, and he is highly unlikely to miraculously replicate a 7-interception season at his age. Coby Bryant, on the other hand, is an ascending star. This kid plays with an infectious, aggressive swagger that our defense desperately needs. He is stepping into his prime, and I am beyond thrilled to see what he brings to the Windy City. So, here is my official question of the day for you, and I want you to head down to the comments right now and let me know, what is your one-word reaction to Kevin Byard officially leaving and Coby Bryant taking his place? Drop your word in the comments, I will be reading through all of them. Now, let's keep it moving because there is a lot more to cover in the secondary. Elijah Hicks is officially coming back. We have received confirmation that he signed a 1-year deal to stay right here. While the exact financial details haven't fully leaked yet, it is safe to assume it is going to be for the veteran minimum, or maybe just a fraction above that. This is a massively underrated depth move. Hicks is an absolute ace on special teams, and bringing him back is going to be music to the ears of our special teams coordinator, Richard Hightower. The sheer energy and relentless motor Hicks plays with on those kickoff and punt coverage units is contagious. Plus, keeping him around gives us a vital safety net in the secondary. Now, don't get it twisted. I fully believe this move signals that the front office is going into the upcoming NFL draft with their eyes wide open, actively looking to draft a starting caliber safety to pair long-term with Coby Bryant. Whether they target a guy in the first, second, or third round, they are definitely hunting for a rookie starter. For right now, I will happily pencil in Elijah Hicks as a placeholder. We also have Gervarius Owens locked down on a futures deal, and we cannot forget about Cam Lewis, who brings that super versatile safety nickel hybrid ability to the fold. Looking at the broader depth chart, Lewis is sitting right behind Josh Blackwell and is realistically serving as the primary backup to Kyler Gordon. Bringing Hicks back just makes sense. He has played some very meaningful snaps on defense over his first 4 years in the league whenever the injury bug hit us. He is still incredibly young, he is elite on special teams, and he barely makes a dent in our salary cap. Ryan Poles deserves a ton of credit for this low-risk, high-reward move. It protects the defense and fortifies the special teams unit all in one swing. Let's shift gears to the defensive trenches, because another familiar face is packing his bags. Defensive tackle Chris Williams is officially out the door, signing a 1-year, $2 million contract with the Atlanta Falcons. Is anyone else noticing this incredibly weird trend where our defensive castoffs always seem to end up down in Atlanta? It has been happening for the last few years, and it is honestly starting to feel like a running joke. But in all seriousness, nobody should be shocked by this departure. We already brought in Kentavious Street, who is basically the exact same rotational player profile as Williams. Both of those guys are bottom of the depth chart pieces fighting tooth and nail just to make a final roster. More importantly, we went out and secured Neville Gallimore. Let me be clear. Gallimore is a massive upgrade over Chris Williams in every single metric. Barring some completely unforeseen disaster, Gallimore is a stone-cold lock to make the final 53-man roster. Williams was a great soldier for us. He stuck around over the last couple of seasons mainly because our defensive line room was completely depleted, and we just desperately needed warm bodies in the trenches. But now that we have restocked the cupboards with 2 capable backups, including a surefire rotational piece in Gallimore, the writing was on the wall for Williams. I wish him the best down in Atlanta, and we will see if he can actually manage to survive their training camp cuts and stick on their active roster. Let's take a deep breath and do a massive, comprehensive sweep of every single player we have brought in, re-signed, and tragically lost during this wild free agency period. Let's start with the offensive side of the ball. We successfully plugged the gaping hole in the middle of our offensive line by pulling off the trade for center Garrett Bradbury. By the way, as a quick side note, our front office sent some very heavy hitters to the Kansas State Pro Day recently to scout one of the absolute best center prospects in the upcoming draft. Keep your eyes peeled, because that kid could easily be a day 2 target for us, maybe right around our 89th overall pick. Looking at the new contracts, Daniel Hardy is coming back on a 2-year, $6 million deal to anchor the special teams unit. Linebacker Marco Jackson is also returning on a 2-year deal worth $7.5 million, with incentives that could push it all the way up to $10.5 million. This is huge because Jackson isn't just a special teams guy. He has the legitimate potential to step up and start at linebacker if called upon. We already talked about Neville Gallimore's 2-year, $12 million contract, which is essentially $10 million base with $2 million tied up in performance incentives. Then you have the massive defensive investments. Coby Bryant locked in for 3 years at $40 million, with over $25 million in guaranteed cash. We also went out and signed linebacker Devin Bush to a hefty 3-year, $30 million contract, securing $21 million in guarantees. On offense, veteran quarterback Case Keenum was brought back on a 2-year, $5.5 million deal to provide stability in the quarterback room. And we cannot ignore the fantastic value we got with offensive tackle Braxton Jones. His deal technically maxes out at $10 million, but it is fundamentally a $5 million contract with a minuscule cap hit of just $3 million. He is going to come right into camp and aggressively compete for that starting left tackle spot. I also absolutely love the deal we gave to wide receiver Khalif Raymond. It has incentives to reach $1 million, but the base salary sits at a highly manageable $3 $6 million. Toss in the 2-year, $6 million deal for Cam Lewis, and the pending details on Kentavious Street, and you have a very busy front office. But now, we have to talk about the departures, and this part physically hurts. The absolute biggest shockwave of the offseason, we traded our superstar wide receiver DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills. That move alone completely changes the trajectory of our offense, and I know the fanbase is still reeling from the shock of losing our number one target. On top of that, we lost Olamide Zach Hose, who naturally signed with the Atlanta Falcons, keeping that weird pipeline alive. Edge rusher Dominique Robinson walked away to sign a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans. Linebacker Tremaine Edmonds is gone, signing a new deal with the New York Giants. Cornerback Nashan Wright officially signed with the New York Jets. And as we discussed at the top of the show, defensive tackle Chris Williams went to the Falcons, and Kevin Byard signed with the Patriots. That is exactly where we currently stand in the absolute blender that is NFL free agency. The roster looks wildly different today than it did just a week ago. But the real question on everyone's mind is, what happens next? Every single one of us is currently on high alert for the Maxx Crosby watch. Right now, there is definitely some growing momentum suggesting that he might just end up staying with the Las Vegas Raiders this year after all. But let's be entirely honest with ourselves. Is that real momentum, or is that just the Raiders' front office strategically leaking information to the media to artificially inflate his trade value? We have seen that game played 1,000,000 times before in this league. We are going to be watching like a hawk to see if Ryan Poles and our front office step up and show aggressive interest in pulling off a blockbuster trade for Crosby, especially now that some of the initial chaos of free agency has settled down. Adding a generational edge rusher like Crosby would instantly legitimize this entire defense and make all these painful departures worth it. We are going to be tracking every single rumor, every leaked report, and every finalized contract as this offseason rolls on. The drama is far from over, and you definitely do not want to miss what happens next.